Hey guys, full strategy exposure right here. I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm gonna do for the rest of this bull market. Like I say in the title, I'm selling my Ethereum and I'm gonna do that right after this video actually, but I wanted to get this video out because Bitcoin is performing great, but now Ethereum is catching up a lot and it's almost sitting at new all-time highs. And you might be like, hey, but why would you sell right before the all-time high? Well, let me explain that. But it shows again, though, that the TT ideas, right? What's a TT idea? That this time is differenter, right? These people, they, ouch, right? It's not great. The market is playing out like it always plays out, right? We had Bitcoin running. Bitcoin was ripping like an 8x or something. It's absolutely incredible. And then the money flows to Ethereum. And now you see that Bitcoin is underperforming against ETH and that ETH bounced off of this huge macro point right here. Of course, now we have people rooting and cheering for Ethereum. Back here, that wasn't really the case, right? There people, of course, said like, well, no, it's a Bitcoin only run because Bitcoin is high and Ethereum is low and ETH is dead and alts are dead and yada yada. It wasn't, of course, but it's just normal cycle behavior, right? Whenever something is really low, why is it low? Because nobody buys it. Nobody wants to buy it, right? So, of course, the sentiment sucks as well. And that's really what I try to focus on this channel, right? The sentiment is so important. Either ignore it or counter trade it. But if you trade the sentiment, yeah, you're going to get absolutely wrecked. So far, this has been such a sick trade. I'm in a huge profit on ETH myself right now, and I'm gonna get rid of it, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what I'm doing, and I'll probably have something in the title like, you should do the same. Of course, it goes without saying, right? It's not financial advice, but definitely consider making a trade somewhat like this after you did your research. Apart from me, you can sue me, but I think it is really important to get the most out of it, because there are multiple bull runs in this cycle, right? Every cycle. You have a Bitcoin bull run, then the money flows into Ethereum, then you have an Ethereum bull run, and then the money flows over again, right? And yeah, again, if you don't believe that that's going to happen, like my comment section in April was filled with people who were laughing and hating, like it's not going to happen. And it happened. And this was so obvious because this is how money flows. The cycle, Alex Beck said this, I think, like the cycle might act a little different every time, but the human psychology does not change. And that's what makes a chart, right? So let's get into the strategy. Welcome to the Blockchain Decoder channel. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. And I think it is really important that it's really outdated by now, but the information is there to check a little part out of this video, because I shot this video when Ethereum was sitting at $1,500, and this is alts against Ethereum, a little 10 seconds of what I said back then here, right? So I feel like, hey, the opportunity to buy Ethereum is better and the risk is lower. So beautiful. Ethereum is for me a no-brainer. Now, what's the price? Right? Ethereum is a no-brainer. Why was it a no-brainer back at $1,500? This video was from the 9th of April, right? And I want to show you very quickly why I said that, because that might help for the next trade, right? You don't want to depend on people making a call and maybe getting it right, maybe not getting it right. You want to know where they get it from, right? But the 9th of April, that was, go away. That was this, well, let's go to the exact date actually. That was here, right? This was the 9th of April. That was the macro low basically, right? Now, why was it a no-brainer? Because ETH on the dollar pair back then was like low, but yeah, how do you know how low it can go, right? Well, you want to put it in perspective. We know how Bitcoin was doing, so let's put it against Bitcoin. And we saw that it was sitting here. And we also saw that, hey, the only time it kind of went there was right before it had a fucking nuts-ass bull market, right? That was incredible. And now we went there again, and that was the sign like, hey, people bullish on ETH, bullish on ETH, bullish on ETH, and then it went down, and people start being bearish on it. And here they were completely flooding it. Like, is your like as where your for JJ should be? Is it all the other way around or something like that? Like, don't try to let your emotions decide what you should do. If anything, again, like, let your emotions tell you something and then do the complete opposite, right? So that was one thing to look at. But another thing was also the Ethereum dominance, and that kind of looks similar like how ETH does against Bitcoin, but it's just how ETH performs against the complete market, right? Because you just know, like, hey, how is an asset doing relatively to the rest of the market? Because we already know how the market is doing, how the total is doing, how much money there's in crypto, right? And there Ethereum was sitting at that major macro low as well, right? And what I said back then, like, yeah, you know, last time it got there, it had a huge bounce. There's of course not a guarantee that it will have a huge bounce, but if you want to be bullish anywhere on the whole chart, then it is this point, right? Where else? Here? Like, that's, in my opinion, how you want to do it. And yeah, here we go. Bam, right? ETH 3x in 4 months, like the highest cap altcoin out there. Crazy. It was a no-brainer. And in my opinion, it's now not really that much of a no-brainer anymore. And now probably the sentiment is going to be a little different. Because now people might say like, "Whoa, look at these ETF treasury or ETH treasury companies, and ETH will go there." All right, okay, cool. But I'm getting out. I'm getting out now. Why am I getting out? And what am I doing exactly? Well, I'm gonna show you. In the meantime, by the way, Bitcoin dominance, bam, go down. It's looking weak, really weak. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. And that's exactly what we want to see, right? Now, I'm not going to sell my Ethereum for cash right now. Why? What would make me sell ETH for cash right now? If ETH's sitting high and there's nothing else to get into, right? But this bull market is obviously not over yet for me, right? Do I want to put it in Bitcoin? Well, look, if you look at ETH Bitcoin, this is the low, this was the high, right? We're now somewhere in the middle, right? So is it wise to now say like, hey, let's put it in Bitcoin and kind of saying to yourself like it will go down here again? I don't think so, right? Again, also, if you look at the Bitcoin dominance, it's sitting higher, close to the top than the bottom. So Bitcoin makes no sense in my opinion, right? And again, this is not for tomorrow or the day after tomorrow or next week. This is a trade that you make and you can sit months on, right? 3x on ETH, great. Took 4 months, cool. But 4 months later, here we are, right? Perfect. Hey, now let's make the trade for the next 4 months, right? Now, what do I want to get into? Alts, right? Ethereum, like this whole cycle showed like, oh, cycle, seasonality, and ETH just like kind of confirmed like how much seasonality do you want? The cycle is intact. Don't be an idiot. It's intact. I don't want to even hear it anymore. Like, oh, never. Just open a chart, okay? All right, here you go. It's like, in that case, you want to look like, okay, cool. Now what's about to happen? And not just only based on seasonality, of course, but based on what we see in the charts. Again, charts reflect human nature and where they put their money. So what's the best way? What is the best thing to look at? News, seasonality, screw that, right? Purely charts. That's it. That's it. But the charts are saying the same, in this case, as the seasonality and as the narratives. So yeah, that confirms it all for me, right? So putting it into alts. And I'm going to go over some specific alts and how to look for it. Because this here is others against ETH. Now, I've showed this chart in the last video that I showed you right here. And alts kind of topped against Ethereum right there. Now, alts are crashing against Ethereum. Alts are not crashing though. They're going up, right? If you look at the altcoin market, it sounds bad. Alts crashing against Ethereum. Yeah, here, this is the altcoin market. It's in a bull run, right? So it's not crashing, but Ethereum is just going up harder, right? The funny thing is, though, that whenever we are here, people will probably say, screw alts, let's get into ETH. No. Again, switch, right? That's what you want to do. It doesn't have to feel like it makes sense to make it make sense, right? Alts came down against Ethereum, right? Bam! Right? I don't know if that's the right sound effect, but for me, it's kind of a bam. Could they go here? Yeah. Should they go there? No. And that's, you might feel like, the fuck are you talking? That's a big difference, right? They can go here against ETH. Definitely, it's in a free fall right now. A good chance. But will and should and must, like, no, of course, right? We have no clue, right? All I know is that if I look at this range right now, then I don't need to care, right? I don't care about the bottom. I don't care about the top. I'm just looking like, hey, is it sitting somewhat high? Cool. Time to get your alts into ETH. Is it sitting kind of low? Cool. Time to get your ETH into alts in this case. Now, if you look at an indicator that I created for the blockchain decoded, the oscillator risk score, this is a metric that looks like, hey, how much time has it spent below the current level in the past, right? Now, it's not really there yet, but yeah, again, if you look at this part right here, touching the green, right? I don't want to wait for the confirmation. That's the thing about DCAing. Therefore, I'm not selling all my ETH right now. When I'm selling, like, I think 60, maybe 70% of it, right? Because eventually, for me, if this happens, right, and it goes up again or whatever, I'll be like, man, if I bought this range and sold this range, I did great, right? I don't need to buy here and sell here. Right? That's not going to work anyway. Then you're going to miss out, FOMO, fuck up, get wrecked, etc. So I'm selling my Ethereum for altcoins right now. The money flow makes a lot of sense, right? Bitcoin, well, we got it. Check, right? Ethereum, it's here. Check. Next stop is alts. Will it happen now, in a week, in a month? I think it's still time to shine for ETH. And I think alts will take a little longer than this. But why am I already making this trade, though? Because it's a fucking fantastic trade right now, right? I don't think that alts are going to outperform ETH within now in a month. But what if, right? Am I like willing to miss out on that? No, of course not. That's the thing about DCAing, right? We now have the same opportunity as what we had in July 2024. Remember the December run? It was nuts, right? Alts outperformed ETH, Bitcoin, cash, everything. Not Bitcoin Cash, but everything. So for me, close enough, good enough. It's great. So what alts am I looking at right now? I'm about to show you. And it's a little thinking out loud, actually, because I'm in the middle of the process. I'm about to make the trade. So I'm going to just take you with me with that. In the meantime, let me know. Did you buy ETH and when? I'm very curious. Overall, why is it a good time to buy alts? Because one, it's a confirmed bull market, of course, and we know how alts do in the bull market eventually. Two, the cycle, again, just showed like, hey, the whole money rotation is fully in check. And three, altcoins are sitting really low, while the liquidity in everything, Bitcoin and ETH and stables or whatever, is sitting fucking high, right? And that makes so much sense. This is more brain dead than the Ethereum buy back then, because there is now $4 trillion in the altcoin market, or in the total crypto market. 4 trillion, right? 4 trillion. It's a lot, man. What if a little piece of that, like a little, right? We don't have to have a full-blown alt season. Just a little piece of that flows into alts at these low prices. It's nuts. It made Ethereum do it 3x. Okay, let's go with your low cap. Like, let's go, right? That's what you want. And you want to be there before the rest is, right? Everybody, same as with ETH. Everybody is like, ETH, where were they back here, right? It's great that you're cheering for it now, but you probably bought here, right? So I already made my 3x, right? Pump these bags, do it for me, no problem, right? But you want to be there before the rest is, okay? Now, if you look at the Bitcoin ETH and stable dominance, still sitting pretty high, right? So this is everything dominance except alts. If this goes down, it means alt season, basically. Then money flows from whatever into alts, right? It now, although the Bitcoin dominance is going down, still stays elevated because that money is mostly flowing into Ethereum, right? So yeah, this chart stays elevated, but this chart goes down whenever the money flows from ETH into altcoins. Let it be that this chart is kind of saying like, hey, accumulation, uptrend, distribution, downtrend, accumulation, uptrend, distribution. Now, it makes sense, right? We saw the Bitcoin dominance sitting really high, actually showing the biggest weakness so far, more like it did in the last 4 years, right? Not only percent-wise, but also the amounts of weeks of red in a row, the biggest monthly red candles, all these kind of things. The ETH dominance is now really pumping hard. Kind of scares me actually, especially at this point. And then we have the altcoin dominance, right? The others dominance. And that's looking like this. And this is always, again, a good reason for people to say, altcoins are dead. No, idiot, altcoins are not dead. That's the money flow, right? Because, hey, a couple months ago, ETH was also dead, right? Oh, guess not. That's the money flow. And you want to be exactly there before this happens, right? And if you're too scared right here because you think that this won't happen, it's fine and it's normal. But then there are not the rewards for you than if you would make that trade, right? So try to now realize like, hey, this market shows like when things are low, that's an opportunity. It doesn't mean it's dead. Like with a lot of altcoins, they're dead, right? But don't just pick random bullshit. Also, the altcoin market, obvious for me. Then what else? High caps, low caps, no caps. Well, if I look at this chart, this is the low cap part of the top 125 against the high cap part of the top 125, to put it like that. This chart is ranging like this. And this chart is basically saying there's way more upside than downside, right? So overall, I think that if you are in for the long run, like from now till the end of the cycle, and you don't give a crap, low caps, right? And with low caps, rank 126 up to whatever, right? Don't have to be the $5 million market cap coins necessarily. You have real quality there, right? And in this case, it's everything outside of the top 10, by the way, right? So that's low caps. That's cool. Also think that some of the higher caps will still perform really well, though. So what I would do right now, and what I am going to do, is mostly position that ETH into the coins that are not complete trash, right? But that have a real good opportunity right now. Right now, and what are these type of coins? I've made my crypto watch list, whatever list, right here. And shout out to Aerodrome, man. Like 130. Yeah. Yeah, there we go, man. Like, fuck. That's why you want to join the Alpha Factory. We're sitting on a steady 4x with this thing. That's crazy. But anyway, I have a couple of altcoins that are paired against Ethereum, right? And that will probably do very well when they go up against a 4K Ethereum, right? So let me go over a couple, right? There's, for example, Chainlink. Right now, what I like about this chart is that it's not like in price discovery to the downside. Right? That's mostly what you want. Now, there is some huge freaking resistance at this part. Right? And what I'm mostly doing when I'm looking at charts is just looking like, hey, where is the resistance sitting? Where are we right now? And where is the support sitting? And there's some decent support over here. You could also draw it a little lower still. You also have some right there. But this chain link against ETH. And with chain link against ETH, I feel like, man, it's sitting somewhat in the middle, right? So if it was sitting more like here, I was like, okay, let's convert ETH into link, right? If it was sitting here, I was like, let's put, link into ETH. In this case, it's not a trade for me at this point, right? And you should be willing to, like, it could go up from this point, right? And then you missed out. Fuck that. You take another trade, right? Don't get emotional over coins that you missed out on, because I can tell you there are a lot of coins that you missed out on in this market. Then we have AVAX against Ethereum. AVAX against Ethereum is looking, like it's hanging on a thread right there, right? We have some support right here, but, it's kind of, it actually already broke it. And that doesn't mean necessarily that it will go down forever or whatever, but it just shows you like, hey, it's really unclear right now where it has a good chance to bounce, right? But around this area, I still feel like, okay, AVAX against Ethereum, it might be a good one, actually. Wait. It's so annoying. I'm getting a call like I'm not picking up on you. Fuck you. Sorry. ADHD. AVAX against ETH. It's not the strongest coin. Then again, that is where the biggest opportunity is sitting, right? Like you can buy it really low right now. Tau. So these are a couple high caps, right? And look at this. Every coin should give or take look like crap against ETH right now, right? Because ETH is just, again, outperforming the whole market. We just saw others on their ETH pair, right? Tau is a great coin in my opinion, right? And around this area, it's on a weekly chart, but Tau is looking quite opportunistic against Ethereum. And this is definitely a trade that I would make, right? And again, it's about DCAing. Buying a little bit right here. Hey, you had a better buy than you had in the last year, right? So that's great. Fine, right? Could it go here? Yeah, then you just buy a little bit more. Just don't go all in right now, right? I don't know why this is here. This is a lower cap right now. Doesn't fall under my safer coins. Also, getting slapped against ETH, but chain GPT, I must say, last time it was here, right? Last time it was here, it did a 6x, just saying, right? Again, but this is not like the example that I want to give right now, because I'm more trying to make this video to show you like, hey, you made fantastic gains on Bitcoin. You made fantastic gains on ETH, right? Why do we need to go that low in the list? If anything, you should already be in profit if you took the approach like this, right? Give or take. Why would you need to gamble if you also already proven yourself that you can make money with like low risk shit? So I don't really think it fits in this video. Then again, it is a fantastic fucking looking chart, man. And can it go low? Yeah, definitely. But at the moment, looks great. And that's just a trade you want to make. Cardano against Ethereum. Cardano, I know people feel like, what does Cardano do? Like, what did it do last cycle except 100x? Nothing, right? But it did do 100x. So I don't care. It's a fantastic meme coin. It has strong, look, Cardano is just like, this is gonna run, honestly. And if I look at Cardano on its ETH pair, then yeah, to be honest, I think that this is the big opportunity level right here. right? So that's still a bit lower, about 20%. It has some support right here. So my approach would be that, if I would buy Cardano right now, I'm just buying with like 20% of what I want to buy. But ChainGPT also lower because this is a low cap. But Tau, for example, higher cap, not really there in the range, but buy maybe a little bit more. But Cardano starts to look like it is getting there. And it could take a month before it gets there, right? Like if you see like how much percent it has to go down, it's like 20%. This move down was also give or take 20%, right? But it took a month, like it took 5 weeks, right? So could it take another 4 or 5 weeks? Like it could, and maybe it has a small bounce, reversal, whatever, right here, and then it takes even longer. Patience is really the thing. Like with trading, like man, set up your trades, but you don't have to execute them right away. That's the biggest thing. Dogecoin, same case actually. Like I honestly think that Dogecoin is the type of coin that retail comes in. Retail comes in. Like they open Binance, Coinbase, whatever, and they look like, oh, Dogecoin, I know that. Oh, it's still cheap. It's still 0 point whatever. Like that's how it works, man. Like why else the fuck would it run already? And still, I must say that this is a big level right now. And if that gets broken, then this is the level. So Dogecoin, I would say, if you feel like, oh, I have ETH and I want to buy Dogecoin with it, two-step DCA maybe here, this exact level, and maybe here 30% lower, right? If it gets there, you have fantastic average. If it doesn't get there, you write up whatever you just bought. Right? Solana, I don't know about Solana. Like Solana is obviously if like has been outperforming Solana for the last year, or not the last year, by the way, but for the last 4 months as well. But for the last year, look, we're back at that level, right? It goes for a lot of coins, and overall Solana is still holding up better than a lot of coins because it already had the pump. But in that case, I also wonder, like, I just don't know about Solana, right? I don't know about the price. It's already sitting high. About the product, it has a lot of users, I know, but the real quality isn't there, and the real adoption won't be there as like it will be with ETH. But yeah, fuck the narrative. Apart from that, I would say like the big level is another 20% down. I won't really buy it right now, I think. No, I won't. Superverse looks absolutely fantastic right here. Actually, looks amazing. Beautiful head and shoulders, by the way. Wow. But this looks amazing, man. I think that this level, you want to maybe see a little confirmation that it actually holds here, right? If it shows some strength right here, then buy, whatever. Then you buy this candle right here or a little higher. Doesn't matter. But you don't want to buy it right here because, hey, I have the lowest buy, and then it goes down more because then goodbye with your lowest entry, right? So wait for some more confirmation. But this could be a huge level and a sick trade, actually. Render on its ETH, it's a render on its ETH pair, yeah. Beautiful right here and beautiful right here. So also a two-step trade. Uniswap. Why am I mentioning Uniswap, right? Again, ETH, Uni, like, like, I don't know, don't cut that out. And like, but that's for me like easy. DeFi is there to stay. Like, what does Uniswap do again? Doesn't matter. It's crypto, man. Stop asking about utility. Doesn't need to do anything. But I honestly think that this could go a little lower, maybe down another 15%. But that's a great entry. Then you can make a 2x just on a simple like range already. Great. an Ondo, I think that Ondo is also a coin that looks against ETH right now like, yo, trade me. Like, this is beautiful. Also, wait maybe for a little confirmation. The opportunity right now, man. Like, this thing went down also with 60%. Like, that's beautiful. And then we have Aave, one of the huge outperformers in this market, actually, that I completely missed, which has huge support where it's sitting right now, actually. Right, already back in 2020 was resistance, support, resistance all the way. Bear market, right? Bull market started, resistance, blast through, and now a retest. Yeah, the retest is what you want to buy. Damn, beautiful, love it. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do right now. Actually, I think that this is gonna, like, and again, you won't do it perfect. But like I said, you can ride 3 bull markets in one. Forget about timing the top, timing the bottom. I know you won't, right? But just for stop calling me like. Sorry, very unprofessional. But if you forget about the timing aspect, then look at this. Be in Bitcoin, right? Until when was it? April, give or take. So that's let's say here, you made a 5x. Great, 5x. That's where Ethereum started to outperform, right, from April. So then, let's say you start with $1,000, $5,000 right here, right? Hypothetically, I want to show you the something that's like Bitcoin 5x. Put it in ETH, right? So you got ETH, and that point where ETH started to outperform, bam, 3x, 3.5, let's say 3x, right? So that 5K, you 3x that, $15,000. Then you convert it into alts, and alts start to outperform ETH, and alts overall do a 5x, right? A little conservative. 5 times that 15K, $75,000. You know what you just did? You turned 1K into $75,000 while you were in the lowest risk asset for the biggest part of the bull market, followed by the second lowest risk asset. And then you were into alts a little bit, right? While the people who were in alts all the time, wishing for a 75x, maybe walk away with a 5x because they first got wrecked and they needed to pump for compensation money instead of profit. Again, you don't time the bottom, you don't time the top. It won't be for 75x like that. But that's just how these bull markets, they, give you so much more opportunity than what you actually see in first instance on the chart, right? You don't have to shuffle all the time. Don't overtrade yourself out of the market. But look where the money is going to flow, right? We already know that. That's what always happens. And as long as it happens, take advantage of it. And be there before that happens, right? Don't time the bottom, time the top, whatever. Just be there before it happens. And try to ignore everybody that tells you like you're an idiot. It's different. It's dead. Ha ha. You have the last laugh, dude. And the most profits. That's awesome. So this is far from over. This is far from over. ETH hasn't stopped running yet. I don't think that alts are wrecked enough against ETH yet, and alts on the alt outperformance hasn't even started, right? So the real crazy fucking shit of the bull market, that will still follow, because the euphoria stage doesn't happen on a Bitcoin run, right? It happens on an altcoin run. Why? Because put a lot of fucking liquidity in Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin does 2x, great. Doesn't make headlines. Put that same amount of liquidity in the altcoin market. All the altcoins do 50x. Right? Money-wise, not really a difference, right? Or not. But yeah, a lot more euphoria, of course. So that's it for today, guys. Like the video if you're still here. you made it until like now, the fun stage of the cycle, right? I'm really proud of you because it was long, it was lasting, it was dragging, but hey, here we are. It's about to get fun, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.